Okay, Mr. Chris Bangle, hello and good morning to you.
Hi, Eric.
I hear you're just back from CES, so I wanted to find out. It's turning into quite an important show for designers. What is it that stood out for you and why?
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw a number of car designers that I knew there. I was a little bit surprised. Thought, what goes to Vegas stays in Vegas, but I guess the car guys go there too. Some really interesting product coming out. The 4K ultra high definition television stuff is big and very impressive. Samsung showed a very interesting dual function television where basically two people could watch two different 3D films at the same time, or four people could watch four different 2D films at one time. So if you think about this type of overlapping multitasking, how that's going to come into the car world, that seems almost ready to roll.
Right, so that was basically the standout product that you see making its way as an automotive application sometime in the near future.
There were other ones on that same score. And a number of things that had to do with, of course, linking your mobile world in with your home world and things like this. Everybody's always been trying to do that. But I think most impressively is television's still exciting people and are getting even better and more interesting, both in quality and also the services that they offer. The interfaces on some of these are really, really impressive. And probably the car world learns a little bit from that as well.
And in terms of what it is that you're doing currently, because I know you mentioned Samsung, there was some talk about you perhaps doing some work with them a while back. I know you're now working outside of the automotive sphere. Could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you're doing?
They are a client, I'll admit that, a little admission in there. Particularly because they're very innovation driven, and that excites me as well. So some of our work is for clients which are not in the electronics field, but also in the innovation, and other work is, for example, for them in that field. In the car stuff right now, not doing much right now in cars, but that can change. So design teams are up for anything.
Sometimes it's kind of difficult for car guys to get out of the automotive industry, even though they say that they've quit. Do you then foresee yourself going back into the industry? Do you kind of miss it, or is it kind of take it or leave it, you'll take it if the opportunity arises?
Well, I don't really ever see myself having left it entirely. Certainly the amount of mail I get with questions and trying to help students get their way into the car business means that I better still understand how it works and to be able to help people. And that's always exciting, and particularly young people who are trying to figure out how you get into that entire strange world of car design. On the other hand, the clients come, the clients go, and the ones that are the interesting, turns out to be the ones that you get the most passionate about. And if there's a car one in there too, fine.
I've always admired that about you because you're quite altruistic when it comes to helping others, especially younger designers.
Oh.
You really go out of your way.
Oh, come on, Eric.
You do actually, because I've seen you do it. I've witnessed it. What kind of, why do you do it? Someone in your position, someone that's accomplished what you've done, you kind of feel like a need to kind of give back?
Well, first of all, you're too kind. It's not true at all. But I do believe all of us have an obligation to try and help young people give back something of all the help we got through our careers. Come on, all of us really, really benefited from people above us who were older, more experienced, who saw some talent and tried to develop it in ourselves. And certainly we owe at least that much to an up-and-coming generation. At the same time, it's maybe one chance we have to perhaps help inspire them to be their own designers, not follow in our footsteps so precisely, learn from our mistakes, but also have the courage to go their own way.
Right, so I know that you're blowing through this show just today.
Yeah, rather fast.
What, if anything, have you seen that's kind of struck you as being good, or that you've enjoyed, that you've witnessed here today?
Well, it's a quiet show. I don't know if it's done on purpose or anything, but all the pizzazz isn't there that used to be in the past. Maybe that's a good sign, They used to say when the industry goes down, they throw pretty girls on the stand. Less pretty girls, maybe the industry's doing well. I guess that's how it works. In terms of concept cars and new innovations, I just wandered here onto the Corvette stand to see the new Vette, but other than that, it's too early for them to have brought out a lot of their products. I haven't seen anything new. What I have seen, okay, fine. take it or leave it.
Finally, last question. BMW has actually hit its stride, mostly because of what it is that you did since when you were there. What can you say, if anything, about the direction that BMW's taken since you've left, particularly with the I vehicles?
That's a very a good set of questions that I'll try and dodge. Well, the I vehicles had their origins even the times I was there, and they're trying to develop in a way that which sort of parallels, but at the same time is distinct from the normal BMW palette. Takes on a rather graphic approach as opposed to a formal one, which is a choice to be made along the way. It'll be interesting to see how it develops, you know, as it goes from these concept vehicles into production. Certainly in some formats it works better than others. Definitely the sports car format seems to be the strongest. So they're hitting their stride for sure, BMW being very successful. This will be an interesting year to see how they handle some of the challenges as well as the markets are changing. It's not so simple, and certainly you can't solve everything just by going downscale. So yeah, no, sure, that team's got their work cut out for them.
But it's very interesting with the whole front-wheel drive platform that they're developing and going to be sharing across the Mini brand as well. That is going to really be very interesting from my perspective anyway.
Well, certainly they did their homework on whether there were alternatives, and you know, the famous dogma, there is no dogma, is applicable in this case as well. So the company that said, we'll never do a front-wheel drive car, maybe when the context is correct, that's the absolute right thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Eric.
I really appreciate it as always.